Hi, I'm Kirby Hiscox. I'm here with David Cantu of MarriageCounselorAustin.com. We're here to talk about real communication. David, we've been chatting about real communication and how important listening is in that communication process. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, Kirby, I think we all know that listening is really important. If you were to ask a group of 100 people, hey, what's the most important thing in communication? I bet 100 people would raise their hands and say, listening is. Even though we know that fact, actually doing the listening can be a really big challenge.
What do you think the biggest challenge is in actually hearing somebody and understanding what it is that they're saying?
That's a great question. I would say that I don't want to listen. That's what makes it so hard. I want to tell you what I'm thinking.
I have something to say.
I have something to say. I already know what you have to say, especially if you're speaking with somebody you're really close to. I know what you're thinking. I already know you. Let's talk about what I have to say. That's the challenge.
In that communication of sending out information and making sure someone is hearing you, what is it about the communication style that helps people understand what they're hearing?
Kirby, know that only 3% of your communication with the other person is in the words. 90% of it is in your attitude toward the other person, is in your feeling about the other person. Because that attitude and that feeling is what creates your tone of voice, your body language. One of the things that people talk about a lot is, well, can you read the other person's body language? Well, you can, and you hear their tone of voice, but that comes from the attitude toward that person, the feeling that you have toward the other person. So in order to listen better, you want to be conscious about how you feel toward the other person, what your attitude is toward the other person.
That's very interesting, David. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
You know, we come back to the listening, but that question is really important. How can we actually listen? And one of the ways to do that is going to be for me to have an active interest in you personally. So my attitude to the person I'm speaking with is really crucial. Not so much the words and not so much the body language, but how I feel about you. That's going to create my tone of voice, my body language. So if I feel positively toward you, that is going to really help. It's going to help us create a connection with each other, and you're going to very likely feel that I'm interested in you, and it's going to make it a lot easier for me to actually listen to you.
Yes, if I feel that you are interested in what I have to say, and you're interested in me as a human being, it seems to be a little easier.
And that's exactly the point. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to interact with me. It's going to be a lot easier for you to feel comfortable with me.
So many of us, David, have a sense of avoiding conflict, and so there might be a delicate subject, and we don't want to put that out there, and so we kind of hesitate, and we might dance around it a little bit. Tell us how we might better communicate with that essence of not being afraid of conflict.
Dancing around it, as you're saying, I think is a great way to put it. We often walk on eggshells, and that fear pulls us away from the person. And what I would say is that instead of running away, instead of fighting, instead of just trying to please the other person, learning to be direct and respectful and assertive with the other person can be very powerful and can be really effective in creating better communication.
Getting your point across and avoiding conflict in doing so, that's a big challenge. How do you help people really effectively do that?
Boy, Kirby, speaking directly with someone, being willing to be honest with them and tell them exactly what it is you're thinking and what you're feeling, I think that's the solution for it. And not hiding how I feel, and
Yes.
being willing just to tell you, you know, Kirby, this is what I really think, but not in a way to criticize you, but more in a way to share with you where I'm coming from internally.
There's a bit of vulnerability there. And so many people are afraid of just that little hesitancy of, ooh, that's, if I say this, then something's going to happen.
Kirby, that is the perfect word, I would say, is being willing to be vulnerable and willing to be open, especially with someone you're really close to, especially a loved one, a child or a parent.
Mm-hmm. I like to use a term, leading with your heart.
I love that. That is an excellent way to do that.
Well, thank you, David. I've enjoyed our dialogue. Where can people go to find more about this, and where can they go to contact you as far as setting up an appointment with you?
I would encourage you to just give us a call. It's on our website, 653-4316, area code 512, either lifecoachaustin.com or marriagecounseloraustin.com.
Thank you, David.
Thank you so much, Kirby.